Grace said, "He didn't like it. He didn't watch my story. He didn't text me. So explain why his Hinge prompt changed 14 minutes later." Tessa laughed because she thought Grace was being dramatic. Then Grace showed her the screenshots. First screenshot, an old Instagram carousel from a coffee shop in Austin. Nothing special. 2 iced lattes, a blurry table, a receipt corner, the kind of post you forget exists 3 weeks after you upload it. Second screenshot, the same carousel, but Grace had changed the location tag for 9 minutes, not to the coffee shop's real name, to Booth 7. That was what she and Colin called the table on their second date. Third screenshot, Colin's Hinge profile 14 minutes later. His prompt said, "Apparently I still owe someone Booth 7. Tessa stopped laughing. "Okay," she said, "that's insane." Grace nodded like she wanted permission to believe it. And this is where the story almost goes off the rails, because the easiest version is also the most dangerous one. The easy version is, Colin saw her profile. Colin still cares. Colin is secretly checking. Colin changed his prompt because of her. Maybe, but one clue is not proof. A matching phrase can be coincidence. It can be memory. It can be a mutual friend. It can be 2 people thinking about the same unfinished date because neither of them got a clean ending. And Instagram does not hand you a clean list of everyone who opened your profile. Anyone promising that kind of certainty is selling fantasy. But Grace was not asking for fantasy. She was asking why the timing kept lining up. She and Colin had met on Hinge in March. Not a huge movie version of dating, just a normal Austin thing. First date at a taco truck. Second date at a coffee shop with the uneven booth. Third date at a tiny bar where the receipt printer jammed and the bartender handed them a red paper receipt like it was evidence from a crime scene. Colin was charming in that annoying way where he did not seem like he was trying. He remembered small things. He walked on the street side. He sent songs without over-explaining them. Then, after the third date, he wrote, "I'm bad at timing, but I don't want to disappear." And then, he disappeared. Not fully. That would have been easier. He still followed Grace. He watched some stories, skipped others, liked nothing, replied to nothing, and kept his Hinge active enough that one of Grace's friends saw him change photos twice. For 3 weeks, Grace told herself not to care. Then, on a Thursday night, she opened the old carousel. It had been sitting in the middle of her grid. 2 coffees, 1 receipt, 1 blurry photo of her hand on the table. The location tag said the coffee shop's real name. Grace changed it to Booth 7. She did not post a story. She did not send a message. She did not make a new photo. She changed 1 small public detail on an old post and set a timer for 10 minutes. Tessa hated this plan. "This is how people lose entire evenings," she said. Grace said, "I know." 9 minutes later, Grace changed the tag back. No like from Colin. No story view because there was no story. No message. No follow change. Nothing you could point at and say, "There, he did the thing." Then, 14 minutes after the tag went live, Tessa sent Grace a screen recording. Colin's Hinge prompt had changed. "Apparently, I still owe someone Booth 7. Grace stared at it for so long her screen dimmed. Tessa said, "Do not text him." Grace said, "I'm not." Then she typed, "Booth 7 remembers," and immediately deleted it. That part matters, because the problem was not whether Colin noticed. The problem was what Grace would do if he did. People treat a quiet signal like a confession when they badly want a confession. A profile change, a view, a follow, a prompt, a song lyric. It all starts to feel like language. Some of it is language. Some of it is noise. The only way to keep your head is to separate a single hit from a repeated pattern. So Grace waited. The next day, she did not touch the carousel. Colin's prompt stayed the same. The day after that, she changed the cover image for 13 minutes. She moved the receipt photo to the front. The red paper receipt from their third date, the one Colin had joked looked like a parking ticket for a relationship that had not started yet. Again, no like. Again, no DM. Again, no visible Instagram action from Colin. And again, Tessa thought the whole thing was ridiculous until she checked Hinge. Colin's prompt had changed again. Red receipt, bad timing, worse apology. Grace put the phone face down. That was the first honest reaction she had all week. Not excitement, not victory, just this awful little drop in her stomach because the pattern was strong enough to feel real and still not strong enough to become an answer. Tessa whispered, "So he is watching." Grace said, "Maybe," and that maybe is the whole story. A tool like Synapse AI can help someone organize public and profile-adjacent patterns, timing, repeated movement, visible changes, quiet engagement, things that happen around a profile after a specific public clue appears. But it cannot read a person's mind. It cannot tell you with certainty that one private person secretly viewed one profile at one exact minute. It cannot break into private accounts. And it definitely cannot turn indirect attention into romantic intent. What it can do is help you stop treating one random signal like destiny. Grace had 2 clues now, not one, both tied to old date memories. Both happened after short Instagram changes. Both appeared on Colin's public dating profile without a direct message. That pattern mattered, but it did not mean Colin had earned access to her again. That was the part Grace did not want to admit. If Colin had enough attention to answer the memory, he had enough attention to send a sentence. If he could edit a Hinge prompt, he could text, "I handled that badly." If he could turn their private joke into public ambiguity, he could choose clarity instead. Grace opened their message thread one more time. The last text was still his. "I'm bad at timing, but I don't want to disappear." She looked at it for a while. Then she archived the carousel. Tessa asked if that was supposed to send a message. Grace said, "No, that's the point." The next morning, Colin's Hinge prompt changed back to something boring about loving breakfast tacos. No apology, no text, no clean ending. But Grace had one, not because she proved he was watching, because she finally saw the difference between attention and effort. If you are stuck on one person's quiet Instagram movement, do not build a whole relationship out of one clue. Look at the pattern. Look at the timing. Look at what changes after attention returns. Then look at the part people hate looking at. Did they actually do anything with it?